Well, you know, so far this week, I think that there's been good things, and then there's been things that we'd like to do better. But I think what it comes down to is consistency and performance. You know, we'll have some guys, maybe some units play really well one day, and I don't know if it's getting a little bit satisfied, but then they don't seem to have the mental intensity the next day, and another unit or somebody else does a little bit better. And I think there's a lot of teams out there that want to beat Alabama, and I think consistency and performance, I don't care what you feel like or whatever, to choose to do the things you need to do to be the best player you can be every time you get an opportunity to improve is what we need to be focusing on. And consistency and performance is what defines success. And if you want to be successful, you need to be more consistent in your approach to how you go about doing things, what you do, how you do it, every day, every opportunity you get a chance. So, you know, that's kind of what we're really, you know, kind of trying to focus on. In the scrimmage on Saturday, obviously we got a few more guys nicked up, so we'll get a chance to look at more players. But I think the same thing goes in the scrimmage. You know, who can play with the kind of intangibles that we want to play with? Coach is not out there getting on you to run to the ball. Coach is not out there to finish plays, tell you to finish plays. Nobody's telling you what to do. Can you play with the kind of energy, effort, enthusiasm, toughness, discipline to execute your job? And how many guys can do that, and who can do it? You know, that's going to be what we're going to try to accomplish. You know, I think just to make a comment, I was really pleased and proud of the way our guys handled the White House trip yesterday. It was a really positive experience for them. Like I said yesterday, you know, going to the White House is really a special invitation and a special event. And a lot of our players haven't ever been to Washington, D.C. to see a lot of the things that, you know, sort of represent a lot of traditions in our country. So I think the players enjoyed it, and I was certainly pleased with the way they represented the University of Alabama, themselves and their families. You know, I don't think we have any new injuries or anything to report. One thing I like to make comment about, the clinic's coming up. We have some great speakers, you know, coming in here for this clinic. We try to have the best clinic in the world, in the country, any place around, as one of the ways that we have an opportunity to thank and pay back high school coaches for what they do to promote our game, to inspire players to play our game, to develop players so that, you know, there's some people out there because of high school coaches, high school coaching programs and the teaching that they do that we've been able to recruit here and play pretty well with. And this is the one opportunity we have to show our appreciation for that, so to do a great job with the clinic to try to help them in their professional development is, you know, certainly something that we really are excited about doing. I don't necessarily agree with the rule that we have that other high school coaches can't speak in your clinic. I think it's good for them to share professional knowledge, you know, that helps the development, you know, of other colleagues. But it is what it is, and but we've got a really good lineup of, you know, great coaches: Doug Peterson, Mike McCarthy, Dana Holgram, Kevin Elko, Jeff Collins, Neil Brown, Ron Zook. We got a lot of really good, you know, speakers here, high school, college, not high school, but college and pro. So, and our staff will do a really good job of trying to help those coaches as well.
Starting back with Cecil.
Coach, we asked Saturday about the offensive line, and it was hard for you to have an impression just coming straight off the field, but have you had a chance to review how they played and how they progressed so far this spring?
Well, you know, I read in the paper today how the defensive line took advantage of them in pass rush. I don't know where that came from. I don't know where you got your information from. So I don't know why I should have to comment about it. It seems like you guys already know. You got your secret information. You know, somebody's going to cost somebody their job around here, because if I find out that anybody's ever telling you guys something they ain't supposed to tell you, it's not going to be good. But I thought the offensive line really did a pretty good job in the scrimmage, to be honest with you. We moved the ball effectively, had a lot of passing situations where the defensive guys got to tee off on them and run a lot of pass rush games. So maybe we got a little more, you know, pressure, but we got a couple guys that are pretty good rushers. So it's good that they challenged each other, but we also made a lot of explosive plays on offense throwing the ball. So might not have been as consistent as we'd like for it to be in pass protection, but it was still pretty good. But I mean, I think, maybe you might be able to get more information from some of your colleagues. They seem to have it.
Back down front here with Mark.
What do you see from Raekwon Davis as he enters his third year, and what kind of personality does he bring to the team?
Well, I think when Raekwon is really motivated and wants to play and gets excited about playing and plays with good technique and has the mental intensity that we'd like for him to have, he's really a consistent performer and plays really well. But I think that's the challenge, to get him to play with that kind of consistency all the time. And he's played a lot of good football here, and we want him to continue to improve, and I think he has.
In the middle with Michael. Yes, how would you assess the defensive backs at this point in spring?
Well, we have a lot of inexperienced guys there, so it's been a little bit of a work in progress, and I think guys have made improvement. Are we where we need to be? Not really. We got a long way to go. Am I disappointed in the progress? No. But, I really enjoy the challenge of trying to coach the guys. Trayvon missed 4 or 5 practices, but he's back practicing now, so I think that'll be good for his development. But all in all, we've got some young players coming in. There's no doubt that we're going to have to use some of those guys for some depth at some of our positions in the secondary.
Over on the right with Charlie.
How have you seen both Mack Wilson and Dylan Moses kind of step up, both on and off the field, as the signal callers of your defense?
Well, I think both of those guys have, really good ability. And I think the same old theme, because it's a theme with me and the team, is their consistency in terms of the mental energy and intensity and leadership that they show on a consistent basis. They do it at times, but it's a little bit up and down. All right, so that's we got to strive for that with those guys too, and I think that's really important, because I think when they're vocal and make calls, it really impacts and affects all the other guys on the defense and helps them play better. And I think that comes from confidence, which I think the more they play, the more confidence they'll get. Because even though we look at them as guys that are starters, both of them started a couple games last year because of injuries, and then they got injured themselves. So they weren't able to play as much as they could have played and would have played. So I think to get them the confidence that they can go out there and run things, with confidence, is going to be something that we need to do on a consistent basis.
Chris Walsh.
I want to go back to the clinic, please. And do you have much of a relationship with Doug Peterson and some of the other speakers that you're bringing in this time?
I don't really know Doug personally. I know him. I know Mike McCarthy a little bit, but not personally. Dana I know from West Virginia. Jeff Collins used to work here. Ron Zook, I've known for years and years and years. So, I could say I know everybody and my personal friends and call them up once a week. Not really, but we're certainly happy to have them and have a lot of professional respect for what they've accomplished, what they've been able to do, how their teams play, the great schemes that they have. The Eagles are pretty unstoppable on offense. Looked to me like a couple times I got to see them play.
We've got time for 2 more, Alex.
You mentioned the shifting along the offensive line Saturday. What did you like about that grouping with Alex at the right tackle and Jedrick at guard, and what you see on film that maybe made you feel good about the offensive line play?
Again, it's a work in progress when you move guys to new positions. But we think both of those young guys are really good players. And we want to come out of the spring with as much knowledge and diversity for both of those players. And they've done a really good job all spring long. They have things that they need to work on and improve on, but I think we're all getting more and more confident in both of those guys, so that we feel comfortable and confident that they can go in and have a role next year on the team. So I'm kind of encouraged by the offensive line. We have a lot more experience. We have a lot more knowledge. We have a lot more leadership. you know, on offense right now, and I think it starts with the offensive line, and I think that's going to have to be one of the strengths of our team next year.
We haven't seen Tyrell Shavers out there in practice the last two practices.
Yeah.
What's his status? And then if he is out, with him and Judy both being out, have you considered maybe moving the same thing what you did with Devontae Smith, maybe moving people from the secondary that can play both positions and experimenting with that?
No, we haven't considered that because we don't really have enough defensive backs. I think Trayvon Diggs, who played receiver here before, probably could do that, but we don't have enough guys in the secondary. So, you know, we just don't have enough skilled people out there right now. With those guys both injured, Tyrell Shavers hurt his toe, a ligament in his big toe, which needed to be surgically repaired. He'll be all right for the season next year. It actually happened in the scrimmage, and they told me afterwards he just had a turf toe. All right, so nobody thought it was that big a deal, but you always do MRIs on things like that, and I guess it was a little worse than what they initially thought. So he'll be out for the rest of the spring. Jerry will be out for the rest of the spring. We just, you know, I said this before, we don't have as many guys out there as we usually have, and we have more guys that are out because of injuries than we usually have.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.